Welcome to the Pressure Beast Podcast.
Get your joint prepped. We're about to weld.
All right, we rolling? I'm back from our coffee break.
All right, got fresh coffee. We're back.
Good to go. I had to change clothes real quick.
Yeah.
So, anyway, coffee breaks, they can take a little longer than you anticipate.
Sometimes, yeah.
Yeah.
Couple of days.
So, you've heard of that new House Bill, HR 4027? Talk about the
Vaguely.
codes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so evidently Congress is wanting to reference codes, reference standards that are copyrighted. They're talking about making them free. So they tried this, I guess, a couple years back, and I guess it didn't float. But the language had that they had to be able to be viewed. They didn't say anything about printing, downloading. So I think the basis of it is primarily geared for the law, right? So these companies, corporations create law books and law standards. And then what happens is one group has access to them and the other group doesn't. So if you have an attorney that doesn't have any cash, then he may not be able to purchase that book, but the other company can. And then you get into copyright laws as to where you want to go in there and kind of reference that or print that or show that. Now you're kind of violating copyright laws, kind of in a nutshell. So what they're saying is that basically put him up. So what it would affect was any reference standard code, right, in our language,
Right.
that is referenced in law or court. Meaning, if the Army Corps of Engineers is requiring a pressure vessel to be built, and they reference the Section 8 Division 1 standard, therefore, because the government has referenced it as a requirement, that all parties should have access to that for free.
I get the concept. I mean, anything that's law, yeah, absolutely. Tax codes, law books, all that.
So what if there's a law or what if you're in court over a pressure vessel?
Well, that was going to be my next question was, is that federal or state? There's no federal laws on pressure vessels, but there are state laws, jurisdictional laws. The individual state mandates what code and standard you follow.
I could venture to say I could see a federal court case concerning pressure vessels.
Yeah, I'm sure anytime there's one of these large, spontaneous release of pressures
With the big ball of fire.
right, they, I'm sure some federal charges or investigation get launched. I know there's a federal organization which I've actually been interested in working with. That not really OSHA type, but they only deal with accidents that involve death, industrial accidents that involve death. And they'll go out there and investigate it and all that. They're a government organization.
Outside of OSHA?
Outside of OSHA. Completely independent. They're the ones that investigated the explosion out in Missouri that killed a couple people.
With that repair?
Yeah.
Oh,
just a completely independent investigative organization, which I thought was pretty cool.
How do they get paid?
They're government. They're federal.
Didn't know that.
Yeah. But I don't know, man. There's pros and cons to it.
I disagree with it.
As far as law goes, absolutely. Everyone should be able to access every law, every requirement.
The law as it's written by the government should be accessible for free.
Yes.
But the work of others should not. No government should be able to force someone who's produced a widget, document, literature to give it away for free.
Right.
We don't do that with any other industry. And I disagree wholly that this utopian value that everyone should have equal, I don't buy, right? So for us as a country to force a private, public, nonprofit company to disclose and give away their product in the essence for fairness, I don't get. No, you're talking about this could devastate ASME.
Understood. I
Absolutely
don't
devastate ASME.
I don't think this should apply for non-federal codes and standards. Right. So anything that you have to know the tax code, I don't know if it's free to go.
I think this
Download
goes as
and-
far as, like, say, for instance, the Army Corps of Engineers requires pressure vessels to be built, and it's in their specification. It has to be free. So, in that essence, everyone has to have access to it
Nah, I don't agree with that.
beyond the
I don't,
manufacturer. So, I guess the people reviewing the specs, right? So, I guess you can get into it and be like, okay, this is a requirement. And then you hire an inspection company to go verify and inspect that. Now they've got to go by the code book, which I think is fair. But what they're saying is they need that code book for free. Right? So everyone in the party, everyone has access to the same information.
Yeah, I don't think the government should mandate that if you create a code and standard on how to drink coffee, if you want to sell it for $5, the government shouldn't tell you that you have to give it away.
It'll probably be some back end deal where they get some kind of tax write off for forever, compensating them for their commissions.
So what does that do to the industry? Does that open up the market?
No, I think it crushes the market. I think it crushes ASME.
I don't know that it crushes ASME. Well, other than ASME is probably nothing but codes and standards, right? So they would have to give away everything they do. The question is, I don't know how much of ASME's profit comes from the code books versus
That's a great question.
joint views or any other toolbox.
I would venture to
toolbox.
say it's probably fits in the 80-20 rule. 80% of their profit comes off those books. I mean, think about how many codes and standards they have.
Hey,
That whole
that's
B series and
That's the question.
you know,
Hey, Aubrey, can you look up how many code books ASME produces
code books,
or
reference
standards in general, not for just the pressure vessel industry?
I mean, national boards got at least data report registration. They do have joint reviews. They got the classes. They got commissions. The continuing education. They've got different buckets of revenue, but ASME outsourced a lot of that. So you're talking about that's a lot of revenue.
And I don't know what they do other than what I know of ASME is very small in the pressure vessel realm, right? What they do outside of that, I mean, shit, I know every toilet has a sticker on it that says built to ASME standards.
Well, when you can, Aubrey, pull up the ASME website and right up at the top, all those blocks. You know, I mean, we're just in a boiler and pressure vessel. What's that say?
Over 500 standards.
Approximately 600 reference codes and standards.
That's 500. Our podcast wizard doesn't know numbers very
No,
well.
that top line says 600.
Oh, okay.
It does say 600 at the top, but then it does come down. ASME's extensive portfolio includes over 500 standards. Pull up their website. I mean, call it 550. That's a lot of standards. That is probably one of the highest end organizations that has that many standards. But see, when you look at their website right there, right? That up top, I believe, is what we got, right? So you got codes and standards. You got hit the codes and standards. So boilers and pressure vessels is just one of the many codes and standards.
Right. Then you got to think about worldwide, right? So, from my understanding, the intent is to change Div 2 to a harmonized standard for PED for European use. PED is a law. It's not a optional. It's not left up to the jurisdictions. It's law that you're going to follow, and the pressure vessel is going to meet PED if it's going into Europe. Problem is, PED doesn't have a code book. It says you have to meet certain standards, and it doesn't tell you how to get to those. So people pick and choose code books and all that, and they have a couple harmonized standards that they say as long as you build it to this standard, you'll be good. But all in all, there's not a code for PED. There's not a code book, I should say. So my understanding, talking to people on committees, things of that nature, the ASME is intending on making Div 2 a harmonized standard. That way, if you build it to Div 2, then it can automatically get the CE mark and go into Europe. But if Europe passed a law like that, That means they would have to give away Div 2 to anyone in Europe.
This law is requiring that these things be open for public viewing.
In America.
No.
They can't make laws for other countries.
If it's open for viewing in America, how are you going to prevent anyone else from doing it?
I mean, true.
I mean, you can VPN into somewhere over here and download it. I mean, it's just going to be an open website at that point, open library. So you're talking about giving these things to the world.
I just don't. I don't think it's a good idea. Because, I mean, there's a lot of. Where do you draw the line, right? If you wrote a code and standard on anything, you're going to be forced to give it away. The transfer of intellectual property through monetary means would end.
True. But what happens if ASME failed? Now you've got a vacuum of no continuing code being updated. Now we're just talking about the boiling pressure vessel code,
Right?
You know, with all the 500-600 codes. I mean, what happens to them? I don't see another agency being able to step in. It could be a government takeover, where they take over the codes and standards.
That'd be a nightmare.
That would be an absolute nightmare.
Yeah. Probably worst case scenario is the government take over and come up with a.
I just don't see
standard.
how you can wipe out that much profit out of an organization and expect them to stand up.
Yeah, I mean,
That's just crazy.
no law has ever been written to.
Yeah. Hey, on a different subject, did you hear what Bill Gates did?
No.
He reversed course. Now he's saying climate change isn't nearly as devastational as he once said.
It's because Trump fixed it.
Well, you know what? It's interesting. Patrick Bet Davis, he's got a really good podcast show, floated an idea that basically entailed that, you know how Trump came out and said, there's nothing to see here, close the curtain, no more Epstein files, all that kind of good stuff. He committed suicide. Nothing to see here, look over here. That possibly there might be a connection to be able to like, okay, wait a minute, we've got this damning information from a lot of elites. Let's use it. No different than everyone else was, right? So it's just a floated idea, no concrete evidence or proof, but that if they could get Bill Gates to turn coat on climate change, you're talking about having a lot of power.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a neat concept.
Definitely interesting.
Right? But now you're the puppeteer.
I mean, there's always been a puppeteer.
Of course, right. But who's got the strings?
Yeah, that's the question. Who has the power now? Who's controlling it now? Yeah.
I remember one of the questions in National Board School for AI, something about vessels there. Can you weld the parts to the skirt with a non-code welder using chicken wire?
Chicken wire?
Chicken wire. I'm like, first of all, I was like,
I'm not sure what chicken wire is.
Yeah, chicken wire.
Like the netting chicken wire?
Yeah, chicken wire.
Sure. I mean, if you can weld with that.
That's what I thought. I was like, holy shit. These are some, if a dude can weld with that, shoot, let him all day long.
Hell yeah.
Anyway, I said, hell no. Well, I was wrong. So
You can weld with chicken wire?
you can weld that. The answer was yes.
If anyone
can
can weld
weld
with
it.
chicken wire, we want to see the video.
You know?
Send that to us. So, my favorite thing going in the shops and telling these guys, especially for PED purposes, the inspector, surveyor has to go and watch the procedure being requalified and watch the welder being requalified.
You mean watch paint dry?
Exactly. These welders would always get pissed off, rightfully so. They've been welding for 20 years. And me to go in there and stand behind them, watch them run a bead. Same shit they've been doing for 20 years. And my favorite thing is a lot of them, a good majority of them, came up with stupid excuses why they didn't have to requalify. But my favorite one was, if you can weld your name on the lid of a Copenhagen can, you shouldn't have to take any more tests.
Wow.
So, and believe it or not, I've actually seen people weld their name on the lid of a Copenhagen can. So
That's pretty impressive.
it is. I don't know that they use chicken wire to do it, but
They better. So that's some chicken shit welding.
I want to see that. I want to see some chicken wire welding.
I don't think the chickens would really agree.
Bonus points if you get your chicken to weld it.
Oh,
With chicken
man.
wire.
That would be pretty cool. Yeah. What about your cock? Can he weld it?
You gotta go there.
You got chickens, you got roosters. See if your cock can weld it too. You got
My cock can weld anything.
You got hen welding. I want to see a cock welding. You know what I mean? Come on. Big old
Of course you want to see that. You would want to see that, man.
Who
Cock's
wanted?
laying down a bead. That's
That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. You got to go there.
I went there.
Shit, laying
man.
down a bead.
Chicken shit.
No, I'm just saying. You got to be equal.
Equal.
Hens and cocks. You can't just say it's a girl thing.
Sure.
It's a.
I'm not saving on this one. Go ahead.
I'm gotta have some eggs in the basket. Is what I'm trying to say. Yeah.
Yeah. Put all your eggs in one basket.
I try not to.
No.
I try
Split
not
it
to.
up, divvy it up a little bit.
I tend to trip every now and then, and face full of
Huevos.
wevels in your face. It's just, tends well to wipe it off.
Right.
But anyway,
What were we talking about?
material and code material and supports.
No, before that. Before we were
Bill Gates.
Bill Gates.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like let's rewind.
Yeah. Who owns Bill Gates now?
Daddy Trump.
You think it's Trump?
Might be the FBI. Cash Patel.
Yeah.
I just don't see Bill Gates. Either he didn't believe the bullshit to begin with, and now it's out of favor, and he's adjusting course to be back into the favorable, right? Because you don't hear about climate change anymore. You don't hear about that crap, right? You don't. It's kind of like in the past, right? We've kind of woken up and we're focused on the future and blow and go, right? So I don't either he's changed his mind because he didn't believe it. I don't think he has come up with realizing he was wrong
No.
from a standpoint that if he believed it that hardcore when it was popular, I just
I think he can't make money off of it anymore.
well, that's
Right.
very true.
But that doesn't give him the reason to backtrack on his word.
I saw the interview with him and where he kind of came out with it. He used the tariffs and we're not giving some of these poor countries as much money. And basically that because of that, the focus shouldn't be so much on climate change. It should be on, I guess, how we use the funds. It was kind of
Humanitarian effort.
kind of like, it was uniquely said, but I'm waiting to see if some of these others start to kind of turn course. Because we still got 3 more years of Trump, and climate change is going to be on a very far back burner. You don't even, at least I don't even hear it being brought up over in Europe very much anymore and all that. The UN's kind of dropped a lot of it.
I don't hear it at all anymore. I forgot it was a thing, honestly.
Right. That's what I'm saying. So
That's the weird part,
how are you
right?
going to make money off it?
To not push it anymore is one thing, but to come back and say, hey, we don't need to worry about it. The starving kids in Ethiopia are more important than the planet being killed. I mean, it tells me that, one, he never believed it.
Yep.
It was a money-making or scare tactic venture.
Yep.
And then, I don't see a lot of people changing course on it. I think they'll drop it.
I think they're going to turn around, like you mentioned. It's all monetary. They're going to make money off it somehow. Maybe write a new book or something. But
As long as they don't make it a manual or a code or standard,
Gotta
they'll
give
have
it
to
out
give it
for
away
free.
for free.
You know what I am kind of excited about? Did you see that new Rogan Elon Musk podcast he put out?
No.
I think it was Friday.
No.
Great. I just, love Elon. But anyway, Rogan was pushing him about, he made the comment about if you got the new Roadster coming out. And he said, yeah, I got basically an unveiling. He kind of said possibly before the end of the year, or maybe rolling in the first quarter. Rogan was pushing him on it. It basically came out to be a flying car. He says it's going to be one of the most memorable launches you'll ever see. And then he kind of probed him some more and was like, well, it's going to be really good or really bad. And then kind of delved into flying cars.
Ah, man, we can't get self-driving cars passed through legislation. There's no way in hell they're going to pass flying cars. I know it sounds counterproductive, but the infrastructure required for flying cars is higher than the infrastructure required for non-flying cars.
Not if they're drones.
They already have that, though.
If they're drones, there's no pilot license required.
Right. Which they already have those. You get in, you got to...
That was the agreeance button.
Yes. You get in, you got a little iPad, you put your destination in, and you hit go.
I mean, the man's capable of creating that. He's flying spaceships from here to frickin' Australia, the size of the Empire State Building, at like 15 times the speed of sound. Meaning, you fire a bullet out of a rifle, it's like 15 times faster than that bullet of a largest object ever to fly in the world. He's got that thing to fly that fast. He's like talking to get to Australia in like 30, 40 minutes.
Yeah, I have no idea what you're talking about, but
spaceship, big rocket.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. That goes in space.
Yeah.
Doesn't count if you're in space.
No.
Because you're going thousands of miles an hour then.
What I'm saying is, if he's got the technology to make rockets, the largest flying object in the world, fly multiple times faster than the speed of sound.
Oh, yeah.
It wouldn't be very difficult to get a couple roadsters up in the air.
No, not at all. I mean, they already have drone technology. They already have flying drones that you can ride in. Shit. Dubai, or not Dubai. Yeah, Dubai. Their police and their ambulance are drones. So
that would be interesting.
So an ambulance in Dubai is just a one bed, flying bed.
Yeah, you just put them on it and launch it, and they over traffic. I think that's actually wise.
I mean,
unless you fall out.
Why not?
Right.
Give it a little parachute in case you need a.
The other thing that I thought was interesting is you brought this up the other day about Elon having a phone or Tesla having a phone, right?
Oh man, I wish they would.
He asked him again. He said, and he flat out said, no, I have no interest in building a phone. And one of the issues is basically he doesn't see phones being around very much longer. What he envisions is a device similar to a phone, but it's basically you got your own personal AI built into this thing that understands you, knows you, predicts what you need and want. And your own little AI in your device can also be tied to, like, say, Gronk, right?
Right.
And he said, basically, there's going to be no more apps. And that basically you're going to interface with your AI, and it's going to be able to deliver every content and everything you need. So I don't know if you're going to be able to say, hey, what's going on X? And it pulls up.
I mean,
well, a phone in the sense that, like our phones now, we hit an app.
You talk to it instead of...
We have an app that we hit.
Right. So you talk to it instead of actually pushing buttons.
The only thing he didn't talk about is whether you'd be able to make phone calls off this thing. But he envisions that how we perceive a phone today is not going to be around in about 5 years, which I think is a pretty short time frame.
That is a short time frame.
Very short time frame.
To lose the communication with each other. No one uses phones anyway.
I don't think we would lose communications. It would be... If I kind of thought maybe, especially if he's talking about Starlink and you're just saying, hey, call so-and-so.
Yeah.
We're doing it over satellite. We don't need infrastructure of the cell phone network.
Cell phone. It's a satellite phone at that point.
Satellite phone.
It's still a phone. I mean,
it's got to still be able to communicate with others, right? We're not going to lose that aspect of it. But what he was very comfortable in his words when he said, the phone we have today is not going to be anything resembling what we have in the future, which I get it. There's got to be another leap.
Right. But it ain't going to happen unless he does it. There's not going to be another tech company come out and release a out of the norm phone like that.
Well, there's only a handful of people that make phones to begin with.
That's what I'm saying. They're not going to take that leap. And
no.
One, they're not delving into the AI technology.
Well, they don't have the AI. So everyone else that does it would have to contract
to
get to ChatGPT.
Right.
He's got his own, so therefore he doesn't have to contract with anybody. So if there is a race, he would have the upper edge because he doesn't have to share any of the profits. He doesn't have to back into an AI. He's got his own AI to back into.
Jack around, you're gonna Bezos or someone might delve into that world.
I don't think Amazon's got an AI in the
Or the-
sense
who's
of like
that,
Google or
Branson, the Virgin
Richard
Mobile.
Branson. Yeah. He doesn't have an AI. The only ones I know of that have, you got ChatGPT. Google's
OpenAI.
got, I believe, Gemini.
I don't know that Alexa's really AI. I think that's
No,
more of
and
a,
you know what? I mean, I'm a big Amazon fan as well, but I am so. When you talk to Alexa now and ask it a question, it feels like you're back in the 1970s. You know, when you're on your phone and you got your AI there and you can be able to have a conversation with it and discuss something and follow up questions and all that. And you ask Alexa what time it is, and that's about the usefulness of it nowadays. It just does. It's just so archaic, in my opinion. Now, if they were to be able to put an AI in Alexa, that'd be a game changer.
I don't know why they haven't.
Because they don't have an AI. They'd have to backtrack in with.
They can use OpenAI. I mean, it's an open source ChatGPT. I mean, there's a bunch of open source.
I don't know why. I mean, that would be a first step, but they're behind the curve at this point.
Oh, yeah.
They're absolutely behind the curve.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just the fact that they've got the power of what they are. Did you see their stock jumped? One of the biggest jumps they ever had. They actually knocked the third quarter earnings out of the park.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely knocked them out of the park.
You know, they're going to keep getting more and more powerful. The faster they can get you stuff when you order it. I mean, we're down to the hours now that they can get anything, damn near anything delivered. They're going to replace grocery stores. They're going to replace everything.
So back in the 80s, right, you used to buy a CD. And that CD, or, you know, your size of a CD, right, it came in a package about yay tall. And if all you guys, you know, Gen X, they'd remember this. So it allowed for more marketing on the CD. And you go in and you look at the CDs and, you know, these were tall little compartment or packages. And you pull it out and you go pay for it. And then basically you open the CD and you throw away this double the size of the CD packaging. Well, the public threw an outcry of what the hell, why are we doing this? And that's why you see CDs for sale, just the CD itself.
Right.
All marketing has to be contained on the CD sides of the cover of the CD. That was the first realization that I had that people have the power to change how marketing is performed. And the public came together and said, we don't need all this extra trash. I think we've forgotten that as a public because I find it disgusting that we end up consuming so much crap when we buy something, right?
Right.
I was out of town on vacation the other day, ordered some food at the food court, and by the time I got my food to the food court on tray, I had a piece of paper that was trash. I had 4 different bags that this thing was in. You know, you're talking about a hamburger, and I've got this mountain of trash
Right.
that I pick up and throw away. And you multiply that by millions, right? We are so irresponsible on how we package items and goods and services.
Absolutely.
So my fear is if there's ever a backlash against Amazon for the wasteful packaging, right? You can order one thing, but they've gotten better in their packaging. But my fear with Amazon, if there's some kind of shift in the dynamics, a paradigm shift, and the public just turns on them because of the wastefulness of all this packaging goods and services, and of course they've gone to electric vehicles now. But I could see that being because it turned on that CD industry overnight.
I agree, but there's really no value. You know, there's no alternative for Amazon right now.
There's gonna be when it comes to groceries. Like
Groceries,
we can
yeah.
get stuff delivered from Kroger and HEB and
Right.
Sam's and all that within Sam's. I think is silly, like 30, 40 minutes or something.
Yeah, groceries is one thing that's local. I personally think groceries should be local. I think everything, fruits, vegetables, get as much of it from the local area as you can and not import it from Mexico or whatever the case may be.
Right.
But as far as goods, there's no, you got Walmart, right? Walmart carries a good selection of stuff, but Walmart's the same way.
I agree.
You know.
I'm not arguing that, you know, the variety is there. I just wish they'd do a better job at packaging. I got a box the other day, I ordered something, and it came in like basically by the time I got to that box, it was in 2 other boxes.
Right.
I'm like, what the hell? I mean, you know.
Problem is they can't ship it in the original box.
But it was in a different box, which was in a different box.
Right.
And it was like that game in Christmas where you jack with your little brother and you put it in 4 different boxes, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, kind of like that. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I just, that's kind of one of my pet peeves. And I have a feeling the public is going to wake up to that one day. And if Amazon's not ahead of that curve, then it's going to be a painful lesson for them to shape up and get into the curve.
It's going to become a profit-making venture if whoever can figure out how to do that. Yeah, and honestly, I think the solution is probably hemp or something like that. That biodegradable, renewable,
And it goes further than just Amazon, right? They're just reselling something. You know, you get crap in a, you know, it's salacious marketing, if that's a word, where, you know, you're buying a product, but yeah, it's this big, but it's packaged in the box this big. You know what I mean? It's just, it's just ridiculous.
prevents theft and more advertisement. And, you know, there's nothing on the market right now that would replace cardboard and air pillows. What are those things even called? Used to be bubble wrap. Now, big air pillows that they put in all the boxes.
That's a good word.
Air pillow.
Yeah.
But until they find something to replace that, which cardboard, everyone says is recycled, but it's not really
It's
recycled.
the highest recycled item in the world, and it can be recycled up to 7 times. Did you know that?
No, but only
How
a
they
portion of it,
track
right?
that? No, most cardboard is recyclable. It is the most recycled product on the planet. I forgot the statistics about. So when you get a piece of cardboard, like a cardboard box, there's a percentage of that has been recycled. But every cardboard has to have a percentage of new.
Right.
It's very rare that you're going to have 100% recycled. I think a lot of the thinner ones are maybe 100% recycled. But what got me was they said you can only recycle cardboard up to about 7 times. It might be plus or minus, but I'm like, how in the hell would you know?
They take a sample and
I
recycle
guess
it until
the
it falls
quality
apart.
of the fiber is broken down to where they're like, this is trash.
Probably
Maybe
just
my only
get-
case.
Fiber gets too small.
To where you got to, and there's only a handful of cardboard manufacturers in the world.
I'm telling you, man, it's going to be
Increase volume till you give it away for free.
right. There's going to be a big push for, and I think it's hemp. I think that's why the government's fought it so hard. I think it's going to disrupt the entire industry.
Hemp.
Hemp can do everything. You can make paper out of it. You can make cardboard. You can make
It's renewable.
everything. And man, it grows fast and completely renewable. Then you can sell the byproduct too. All the you just grow weed and
A lot of
Take
people
the
throw
flower
weed and
and-
call it hemp.
yeah.
Yeah. So the time changed. Kind of screwed me up. Forgot to change my watch. Woke up this morning. I was like, time to get up. And I realized my watch was an hour ahead. And I was like, man, I'm already late.
Yeah, I have an alarm clock on my nightstand just for the time. I don't use it for an alarm clock. But woke up this morning like, oh shit, late. And then grabbed my phone and it was an hour behind. I was like, all right, another 30 minutes of sleep and I can do that.
You know, I've got to where I really don't watch TV or news or anything anymore. Kind of live in a bubble. And shoot, it was probably halfway through the day yesterday that my wife was like, "Hey, you remember the time change?" I'm like, nope. Yeah, I don't really care about the time too much on a Sunday morning. It's usually my chill day, you know. So
Yeah.
unless I don't have something to do, but
Yeah, unless my wife mentioned it, I would have never known.
yeah.
I'd woke up and wondered why the hell my phone said something different than my alarm clock.
They're talking about making Texas be static, and they're calling it Texas time.
Yeah.
No different than when we were in Arizona. They had a static time frame.
I'm a proponent of just federally. Let's all go with one.
Then we'd have to argue over which one we're going to go with.
I don't care which one we go with.
Someone's going to
half the year you're benefited from one, and half the year you're not. And then the other one is just switched.
If you're an environmentalist, you'd want to keep it.
Why's that?
How many billions of barrels of oil are saved because of daylight savings times?
But think about the children, man. How many kids are killed when it gets dark earlier? Legit thing. So when the time changed in the fall, the amount of kids that are hit by cars because they're still out playing and coming home from sports.
You're being serious.
Dead serious. Yeah, Aubrey, see if you can look that up. How many kids are hit by cars because of time change?
Probably because the
from what I
drivers are
remember,
sleeping.
it's a staggering number.
You know what? So you saying by an hour change, that means the kids would be inside?
No. I'm saying the.
I mean, we used to have to come inside when the lights came on.
Yeah, but
They didn't give a shit about the time.
we got tracking devices now. Live 360.
Yeah. Yeah. My youngest son, I got him on Life 360, right? And the other day he was coming back from the Renaissance Festival up north and kind of just tracking me. He was coming through downtown, and all of a sudden, next thing I see him going the wrong way on 610 loop. I call him up. I said, "Hey, where are you going? Are you stalking me?" I said, "No, I prefer it being called I'm just being a parent. Why are you going towards the Astrodome?" He said he was trying to get over and a car pushed him off the exit ramp. So he had two choices to make: just exit and be safe, or try to force his way back in. He said, "Dad, I wasn't worried about. I just come this way and go around." And
it's
I
a
was
loop.
like,
You'll eventually make it back around.
you know, but he's come down I-45 from downtown.
Oh,
And then he ends up on I-10 or 610. Yeah, Yeah, I think you saw some fake news, man.
nah, man, it's a thing.
I'm not understanding how the time and kids getting run over would be affecting, how the time would affect that. To me, that would be a dark light thing, unless maybe the time changes and we're allowed to be outside later when it starts. But shit, kids aren't even outside anymore.
I don't know, man. It's the thing.
It did say there was a 6% rise in crashes.
6% increase.
Probably because homies are fucking tired, especially when you have to wake up that spring. Was it spring forward, fall back? Spring forward. Shoot, that's the one that kicks my ass.
That's what I'm saying. That's the one we need to keep. Spring forward, and then
Just run with it.
yeah, summertime. It doesn't get dark till like 9 o'clock at night.
Yeah, that's nice.
That's what we need.
Well, we get more sunlight anyhow. I don't know if does the rest of the world change time. I think they do.
I don't know.
I believe so. How did I say that? I used to know these things in my younger days.
Back when you were a young whippersnapper.
Yeah, man, I'll tell you, it's run uphill both ways.
Yeah, I don't know if the rest of the world does or not.
It'd be interesting.
Especially like Canada or something like that.
40%.
Wow. 140 countries have implemented them at some point. Oh, Hawaii too. I
Yeah,
didn't know.
well, Hawaii, I would assume would have to.
It's all the
From an energy saving standpoint, I could see how a country would want to do that. I mean, you're talking about millions of barrels of oil. That's a lot of.
well, in that
cost.
case, we need to get rid of it. Get that oil production
Get
going.
it back up, pump up them numbers.
Those are, rookie numbers.
Rookie numbers.
Yeah, we need to get that going. Price of oil is dropping right now, which isn't good.
They're saying that they're going to start pushing the Texas shale and producing more out of there. And that next year should be some of the lowest gas prices in like a long time. But they're going to say production's going to go up. Basically, the article I read was talking about how our production is going to go up to help lower the cost, which that's what Trump did last time. I mean, he dropped the price of oil down to buckets, but the economy roars from it.
The economy does. The oil and gas industry.
Oil and gas industry kind of gets hurt.
Which, I mean, you can't really make them drill and frack and all that when they're not making profit from it.
Yeah, they've got to learn how to better way to drill.
Yeah.
Or suck.
So,
Just suck that oil
put a
out.
bigger straw down there.
Suck the oil up.
Yeah, I don't know. Of course, it's nice having cheaper gas at the gas station and all that, but yeah, man, the ebb and flow of it hurts sometimes.
I think the byproduct, I haven't kept up with it too much, but probably OPEC Plus might start squeezing that nozzle closed, kind of bring the price back up to balance out. Usually they flood the market to drown everyone else out. But if they were to take the opposite approach and open the flood and then really drop the price of oil, and then that would really stop the production here in the United States.
Right. I don't know. I just know they need to build some more power plants and all that so that our robots can have electricity.
Mm-hmm.
Saw another little clip about one of those robots, the $5,000 one. Looked like it had the earmuffs on it.
Mm-hmm.
There was a line in there that worried me. That said, if your robot couldn't figure out a task, that a human would take control of it and do that task to teach the robot. That means they have access
Oh, I would have been
to
interested.
the cameras, to the motion, to everything at all points in time, which is a scary thought.
Yeah, I mean, it's two sides to one coin. If you bought a couple of these in your company, you want to figure out and make them work, you'd want some kind of tech support to say, hey, I want it to do A to B and B to C. I can see you needing that help. I think
But
a lot
for
of
a
these
human
robots,
to take over and turn it into a remote controlled, where they can see through the robot's cameras and hear through their microphones, and bad
it's
idea,
just
man.
a trade-off.
Bad idea.
It's coming. I mean, hell, our Alexa devices hear everything you do.
Yeah.
It's just not in our face obvious. There's going to be very little points in time where our future is not recorded,
I think we're there.
you know. But I don't believe someone's sitting around watching people's video. I mean, everyone's so busy and stuff. I just don't think that there's, hordes of people sitting around and being like, oh, look at this guy taking a shower.
I don't think there is, but I think it's going to be a tool of power. So if you come out and make it big, going against the government, and government can get recording of you in your house doing shit that is not flattering or whatever the case may be, it's going to be used to say, hey, Bill Gates, you no longer like climate change.
That's some Europe type shit. I mean, they got the thought police and crap like that. And I just
it's coming
don't
here, man.
see that coming here.
It's coming. The digital currency, the thought police, the social score, it's all coming here.
I believe in the good of nature, and I don't believe we're going to allow our elected representatives to do that. I really don't. I don't see a elected representative knowingly. It would be so. Why don't we use the satellite technology we have?
What do you mean?
Right. So let's just say, for instance, a car crash happens, right? And they take off.
Right.
We have the technology with the satellites that we record everything.
Right.
Why can't we be like, all right, who was that guy? Reverse find it, and then figure out where they go, right? We don't use the satellites that we have for law enforcement.
Right.
You know what I mean? So why would we use private technology? You'd have to subpoena it. I mean, they've got the capability of subpoena, right? You can subpoena the phone records. You can subpoena things. I just don't think it would be a preemptive as a meaning a post, right? if something nefarious has happened and they can subpoena the records, I'm all for that, right? If you can prove someone did something, it's going to prove innocent or guilt. But I don't think it's just going to be done willy-nilly like a Big Brother. It'd be like Alexa right now. Oh, my God. How many people would be in jail for shit they say just in general messing around with their buddies, right?
I'm almost positive. I'm not 100%, but almost there that they've used Alexa recordings in court.
It would have to be a subpoenaed item.
We have 3 little letter organizations that don't use subpoenas for shit. They'll tap whatever they want to tap, and they have access to it. If it goes over the internet, they'll have access to it. But so going back a little bit, I don't know if it's your thought or if it's proof. I don't know anything about the subject, but you said we have satellites recording everything right now. So if that's the case, then big items like when they tried to assassinate Trump multiple times, when they killed Charlie Kirk, things of that nature, they should be able to go back and pinpoint that. But I don't know that that's a fair statement to say that they're recording every square foot of the continental United States at all times.
Why would
I think they have the
not?
technology
Why would they
to track individuals in cars.
You mean to
and
tell
things
me
of that
you don't
nature.
think they're recording Russia, China, Venezuela, and they can go back and look at that stuff? Like they could go back and say, here's a video image from a year ago and here's a video image from today.
Pictures?
Are they just taking pictures?
Pictures. I
Really?
think it's pictures. I don't think they're going to record.
Hey, ask if satellites are capable of recording video.
I'm sure they're capable of recording video.
Because you know damn good and well
That's
they're going to
where-
zoom in and track someone of interest.
Right.
They're going to track the whereabouts of some terrorist organization leader.
Right, but I don't think we have the technology in space to record every square foot of the U.S. at all times.
There you go.
They can record in real time, yes, but are they recording at all
You don't
times?
have to record everything. It's just an overhead view, and all you got to do is zoom in on that area, back, reverse the tape. It's just you can have one satellite that's, just synced in orbit with us.
Oh no, dude! There's
Other
no
than
way.
clouds, they can just zoom in on that damn thing.
I think you watch too many
If
spy
they're
movies.
capable of recording, and you're telling me
capable,
they're
yes.
not going to record?
They may record, but can they record and
But
zoom
what I'm
into
saying
a
is
certain
there's-
time and
that
certain
I'm
date
aware of,
and-
there's never been a court case where they used satellite recordings,
No, I don't think there has been.
which I think would blow the lid off. They have that ability to do so. They're not going to use it, right? I think the government uses it for their purposes. I don't think it's to
think so.
track some guy that got a hit and run, right? Or a murder. But from a larger scale, from a defense posture, absolutely.
I don't.
Absolutely. They're going to record that stuff and go back and look at it.
I don't think so. You got big events that happened that they allow for. Look at the Boston Marathon bombing and shit like that, where they search for people forever.
So they have used it in a court case. Ask if
Slavia.
all right, let me reverse the course, right? We're just talking about the United States.
But that's data. That doesn't say that a recording.
China. If China's got the capability of recording the United States
Right.
via satellite, do you think they're going to do it?
Absolutely.
So if they're doing it, why do you think we want it?
Why would we do it on our own territory?
Because we have bad people here.
I agree. But
Because I've always found it very interesting how they are able to find some of these people that quick. You got people coming across that border that they are able to find pretty damn quick. And to me, that's a needle in a haystack once they get in here. But they're able to find people pretty quick, pretty easy, right?
you talking about specific people?
Very Pacific people, yes.
I'm not aware of
They seem to be able to pop, like the Biden administration, right? They're letting everyone in here, but they would seem to be able to stop some of the really nefarious ones, and we'd hear about that, right? They caught some Egyptian terrorists, or some Chinese guys, or they would catch these foreigners, right? And I think with today's technology, with AI, to be able to dump that video in an AI and be like, you know, you'd be able to track these homies and be like, hey, these guys came from over there. You need to go get them here, and then track them where they're going. Absolutely. I think we got that capability. And if we don't, we should.
We should. But I don't. Too much shit happens that could be prevented or people could be tracked that I don't think we have. I mean, think about, they just found 30, was it 30 or 300 piles of bodies out in Vegas desert out in Nevada.
I didn't hear about that.
Yeah.
Sure, it wasn't 300.
It might have been 30.
That doesn't surprise me.
But a lot of people pissed off the mafia.
You got to pay your gambling debt.
Right. But, I mean,
Take
they're
it up
just
the
going to
cooler.
let a huge 315 piles of bodies, human remains.
Cremated human remains.
Will you tell me they wouldn't use
No, that's
satellite technology to go back and say, hey,
that's different. That's not, but that's some crematorium.
no.
Cremated human remains. Cremated human remains. That has to become from a cremation.
No.
They're not just burnt bodies. Those are cremated bodies. That's a difference.
Why would you cremate a body and then go put it in a singular pile in the desert?
I'll tell you why.
Wind would destroy all evidence at that point.
So I've got a ex-friend, right? We had a friend group. And I can't help but believe, right? So he shows up one day with pictures of bodies. Not the full body, like a leg or a hand. Cremated bodies. And he was telling me that he had been working for this smaller funeral home that had a graveyard associated with it.
Right.
Now, I couldn't prove or disprove. And his sister called the police. But he was freaking out. And I'm like, well, why are you going back there? So what happened was, or the story goes, that this gentleman that owned this place would go dig up these bodies. And then he said there's piles of tombstones in the barn, I guess you can say, the workhouse, where they kept the tractors and all that. And then he was able to resell these plots. Because when a funeral home, or when a cemetery gets full, the cash cow stops. So the only way to continue that cash cow and sell plots that are not cheap, he was digging up these bodies. And then what he was also doing was, I guess it's pretty expensive to fire up the crematorium, or maybe it's permitted or whatever. So bodies would come over for him, but he wouldn't cremate them. So he'd put a stack of them, I guess, I'm assuming here, put a stack of them in at once and burn them. Well, anyway, he started telling this, our friend of ours, ex-friend, that started talking to him, and I guess told his sister. And the story goes that one day he was at the place, and the cops show up. And the bodies were over in the corner under some tarps. Well, these things have been embalmed for so long, they don't really smell. They're just kind of laying around. And the cop walked by and he said, hey, we got a report, kind of explained it all. And he kept thinking to himself, like, look under that tarp, look under the tarp. Anyway, the cop went off, and then there was some other stuff that happened past that I really don't want to talk about. But I thought to myself, that's pretty shitty. So long story short, like, I don't know, maybe a week or two ago, I was driving home, and on the news, damn if they didn't bust I think there's two guys that owned a crematorium that they basically weren't cremating the bodies. And that type of scenario. And I couldn't help but think, I wonder if the two were linked with the stories I heard. But
Possibly.
he showed us pictures, and he's not capable of doctoring pictures.
Right.
It wasn't that kind of thing.
Which
It was like, hey,
I fully understand and believe,
for some-
not understand, but I believe the whole digging up bodies, because there is not enough cemeteries in this country for the amount of people that die. Right? Think about how many people have died since we started burying them in cemeteries. They used to be buried on family land and things of that nature. But when we went to the bigger cities and created cemeteries, there's not enough cemeteries There's not enough
That was a great
bodies.
question.
Think about how many people die a day.
What's the ratio, Aubrey, of people cremated versus burying?
And that's just recent, right? Cremation
Never thought
wasn't a
about this.
thing until, I don't know, what,
Modern times, I would
40,
assume.
50 years ago? I don't know when cremation became a thing, but think about the amount of people that have died. Even 31% of how many people die in the U.S. a day?
So 63% are cremated and the balance is buried, 34, something like that, percent is buried. You know, it's interesting to find out that if you look at this chart right over time,
Look at 8,460 deaths per day.
so what is that?
That means, and what, just say 30, we'll just round down to 30%. So 8,467.
Multiply that out by 365.
That's 2,538 people being buried a day.
And multiply that by,
That's 926,370 people a year being buried. Where are they being buried at? There's no cemeteries are getting full. They're not opening new cemeteries. Where are they being buried? And that's only in modern times when cremation
Cemeteries, that's where they're being buried.
cemetery.
Yeah.
But which ones? They're
The ones that have vacancy.
they all have vacancy, man. They're all mysteriously
I
half
don't know, I've
empty.
never actually thought about that, but that's what this dude was doing. He had a small one.
I think a lot of people are doing that.
You know,
And it's
you mean to tell me there's a whole industry of these sons of bitches digging up bodies and then reselling the plots? Well, the one that Grandpa's buried in, I mean, shit, there's, I don't think anyone's been dug up there, but you got shit from the 1800s and stuff. That's a pretty small one out in the middle of boondocks.
it is
Bardwell.
small in the middle of nowhere, but
I
even
can
that
s-
one's not full. Should be.
Wow. 900,000.
I mean, especially those little communities. Everyone out there is old. You don't
Yeah.
have young generations moving into that neighborhood or that town.
I think you multiply that by 10 years, you're talking about billions of people.
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
where are they being buried?
Interesting.
Obviously, they're being cremated and put in Vegas desert.
Well, the
but
question would be how many cemeteries are being opened? How many new cemeteries are being opened? And what does it take to open a cemetery?
how many cemeteries have you seen be opened?
I try not to track that statistics of
Do they have
Of
ribbon
business.
cuttings at cemeteries and like, oh man, we're gonna make so much money off this? I don't get it. Cemeteries are one of those things that they've just always been there, and they're never full. None of them.
Can you imagine starting a new cemetery and be like, "Hi, your family is the first one here.
Congratulations,
You're number one.
You're
you
a
know.
plank owner here.
Yeah, plank owner. Here's a bucket of dirt.
How many cemeteries around the country? There's got to be just a staggering amount of cemeteries.
So if that many people, so I would assume that more than one,
Public
almost
cemeteries.
damn near 100,000 cemeteries. So if you were to, okay, how many people are cremated at a one-time burn? Like how many people fit inside a crematorium?
One.
No, there's you can put multiple.
This is in Germany, man. We only do it one at a time.
That's horrible, man. That's horrible. Oh,
No, for real,
man.
because you have to get the ashes of your
No,
loved
you can
one.
put multiple people in there.
No,
Yeah, supposedly they put a coin on you, and then
no, there's no way.
no. We got efficiency in America, man. We ain't doing it one at a time.
So that's saying that 40 people should be buried in every cemetery in America every day.
Huh. So you and your conspiracies. One body. I ain't no.
Yeah, you only cremate one body. There may be multiple bays, but only one body goes in each bay.
What question did you ask it?
How many people buried it or cremated at one time?
Hey, you need to turn your microphone on.
Try not to be
I
loud.
I don't think that's exactly completely accurate.
It's on the internet, man. It's got to be true.
Is it standard practice to cremate more than one body at a time in a crematorium?
No, cremating more than one body at once isn't standard practice, and it's often illegal without written permission.
It's even illegal.
Designed for a single body, with regulations in place to prevent mixing remains.
There's regulations in place. Though soon that will be open source, and we can go read that regulation for free. But
That seems a little inefficient. You know how much gas it takes to burn a body?
no more gas than Vegas burns in front of their restaurants every day.
But you're going to be all lonely up in there.
What if you get cremated with someone you don't like, then the ashes mingle, and you're like, oh man, I'm stuck with this dude's toe for the rest of my life?
Yeah, that'd be a bitch, wouldn't it?
I just want to be the rest of my life, but rest of eternity.
Right.
But it's all right because I solved the burial problem and all that. I'm not even going to be on this earth after I pass.
Be shut off into space.
I am. I'm going to be
What if it blows up on launch?
Elon.
kinda
If you got an
crappy.
extra little, I just need about that much room on a rocket.
Pack your ass in a Starlink box. Pachoom, spit you out like a.
Yeah.
Pills dispenser.
I want to go out to space.
If the numbers hold, right? Well, that'd be a lot of money to be. I mean, like you can start charging to launch people up there and spit them out.
There's companies that do it.
Yeah, I know there's companies that do it. I think they're full of shit, though. I don't think they actually send them.
They end up in Vegas in the desert.
End up in Vegas in the desert, exactly. I don't see.
Yeah, but I mean that's I don't want to be buried.
I could see them selling a ticket for 40 people. You know, maybe it's like a private ride, and then, you know, be like, hey, we're gonna launch your loved one today, and you say, hey, we're gonna launch your loved one, and so one rocket goes off, and they, you know, I mean, I'm not saying
Yeah,
that's what
no,
happens.
it's multiple people. I think.
I
Right,
don't know
and-
anything about it.
And then
I'm just saying
they have a
that's-
time actually to where supposedly you can orbit the Earth a couple times, and then they'll tell your family, loved ones, exactly when you're going to re-enter the atmosphere, and you become a shooting star. And you can actually watch.
So you're actually going up in a casing.
Yeah, but there's a couple things you can do. You can orbit the Earth and then come back as a shooting star. I guess you can get shot to the moon. I think they actually crash you into the moon, something like that. Or you can just go out in space and just keep going. And that's what I want. I just want to go out in space and just keep going. And
Not
like
with those numbers. That cost
100
was
million
pretty
years
cheap.
from now, some alien's going to open me up and be like, what the hell is this? Why are there a bunch of ashes in this damn thing?
Great with my chips.
That's some weird cereal I've ever had.
A little crunchy. That cost seemed a little cheap to have options.
How much?
I mean, each one of those scenarios is a different style rocket, right? To just get up into space and then
So the
To
cheapest
launch you
option for
to the
sending
moon.
memorial capsules to
see,
space
I
is
call bullshit on the whole moon. I
$3,495.
call bullshit on the whole moon thing. That son of a bitch is moving.
The moon?
Yeah.
We're all moving.
Yeah, you're gonna have to like trajectorily time it, and be like, "Patoom," and what happens if the sun bitch is on the other side of the Earth? You'd be like, "Oh, you know, if you shoot for the moon, you miss, you hit the stars, right?"
It's like NASA. They may have
Well,
lost the technology to get to the moon, but they'll figure it out.
Yeah.
Which
You know,
I think is the biggest bunch of bullshit I've ever heard.
Okay. Counter argument to that. Do you think they could build that Saturn V rocket again?
Yeah.
No. I guarantee they lost the blueprints to that as well.
Who the hell was in charge of NASA document control? Like, how bad do you screw up your job that you lose all the records of the most important things humans has ever done when it comes to space travel?
Absolutely understandable and believable. First of all, the documentation, right? Paper is only good for so much. Where are we at? We're in Houston, right? Very humid environment. You got boxes of paper. You got rats and rodents and crickets and crap.
No, you're not going to convince me that.
And we moved on, right? I don't think the importance of what they had done had probably sunk in at that level. We're just, hey, we're transitioning, right? And then they took all that information, put it over here. And then somewhere along the line, some dude's like, hey, I need that office.
No.
And they're like, well, what is this shit? Some intern be like, I don't know, just a bunch of old papers.
See, what I'd be curious of what they have from before that time and what they have from after that time.
I bet you it's very little. I bet you it's very little. Other than the IRS and the military, no other government agency really keeps documentations at that level if it wasn't digital. Now, from a digital age, there should be no reason. Exactly.
By law, they have to keep all that.
But at what quality is anything anymore, right? You're talking about
it's not that they say they can't read it no more. It's they lost it. It's gone.
They're on a fixed budget, right? So if you're talking about how much data are we talking about? I'm saying like a warehouse full of data minimum. Minimum. And then you're talking about that data spread out amongst hundreds of different departments. It's not like they went around and said, all right, everybody gather your documents. Let's put them in one box and go store it. No, this group had this. And not only that, right? I'm sure as of today, as the same as today, they have subcontractors that worked on that piece and worked on that piece and worked on that piece. Right. And they held their documents. So it's not like we have a book that says, here's how we went to the moon or here's how we made the shit. It's like trying to recreate a recipe that the recipe was never in one place at one time.
Understood.
Right? It was just spread out.
There should be bits and pieces of that everywhere. You
sure
should
there are.
be able to collect everything and say, all right, we have 80% of the shit. We need to figure out the other 20%. It seems like we're starting from scratch. It's like, oh, well, you know what? There's a big rock up there. We need to go figure out how to get there.
So Elon on that Joe Rogan podcast, it kind of touched about that, right? He was talking about how there's very little excitement and very little coverage for what he's doing with these big rockets. And he said, he kind of paraphrasing here, basically was talking about how when we went to the moon, we were there for a few hours and had to come back. Right. His program was talking about going and building a base there.
Right.
Like we could live there for extended periods of time. The difference between what he's doing and what we did as a species back in the day are night and day, right? Absolutely night and day. So what he's doing, there would have been very little benefit to have any of that information anyway. He doesn't need that information. NASA doesn't need that information. We're not going back on any of those spacecraft. We're not going back on the Saturn V is what we use, right?
Right.
They don't even launch their own damn rockets anymore. NASA doesn't launch the rockets. So I mean, I don't even understand why the need for this information is, right? It's just, to me, it's just another feather in the cap for those that don't believe we went to the moon.
You know what I mean? It's for us to have to go through what NASA's going through right now to figure out how to get back to the moon is, and we're in another space race. We're in a space race with China at the moment to see who can get to the moon first. We've been there.
I don't think we even have the plans for that Saturn V, but it's sitting there. We can go look at it.
Yeah, it's in a giant building,
right,
a mile from here, 2 miles from here.
If you went and asked NASA for, do you have all the blueprints to rebuild this thing? I guarantee you they don't. They could not produce that Saturn V based upon the information that they had when they built it, right? Meaning that information was probably so spread out. Different parts of the country were working on this, right? All the different NASA locations were working on it. Those guys had parts and pieces. These guys had parts and pieces. There was never, I don't think, a time where there's, all right, let's gather it all and put it in one box or one bin. We might need this for
probably not. But again,
later.
You should be able to find 80% of those parts and pieces.
I'm sure they have some. They don't have enough. But
so why is NASA going back to the moon? I understand Elon wanting to go to the moon, right? Elon's philosophy is go to the moon, make a base there, and that's where we're going to launch the missions to Mars and back. Right? You're going to have refueling on the moon. You're already partially way there. I understand all that. Why is NASA going back? Why are we spending billions of dollars sending NASA to the moon?
I think it's for the same reason we're still on the space station, for the same reason we built the space station, for the same reason we went to space to begin with. What purpose was there to go to space to begin with, right? It's just this
I get going to space, right? Because it serves a militarily purpose.
To have the government of the United States not have a hand or exposure or access would be detrimental. NASA's got to be part of the return to the moon for the access to it. Right. The government's got to have access to this, right? So I believe.
So is NASA flying their own rockets up there? They are. They are going to fly their own rockets.
Armistice? I have a hard time pronouncing the words. I got the banners all down NASA Road 1.
Yeah.
It's the Artemis project. I don't know if they're launching. I know they still believe launch some stuff, but I don't know.
I believe they're creating their own spaceships. Or
they might. Hey,
shuttles.
Is NASA's Artemis program launching their own? I mean, NASA hasn't launched a human being since they got rid of the space shuttle program.
Right.
The whole purpose of shutting that down was to be able to utilize private.
It was money. It was funding.
Well,
the government building it is not launching. So ask it how NASA is getting back to the moon. Are we buying seats on Elon's rockets?
We're buying seats on, well, hopefully Jeff Bezos gets his program up and running. I'm excited for it.
He's getting into low Earth orbit for like a couple minutes.
I think competition's healthy. I would love to see Jeff Bezos, and I think Elon would too. I mean, to be able to have a backup system, blow that up a little bit more.
SpaceX and Blue Origin.
Yeah. So they're just catching rides, right? So NASA's focusing its energy on the scientific side, not the mechanical side of getting there.
Man, we're spending $93 billion of taxpayer dollars to catch rides on private industry space shuttles.
Which is cheap.
A lot cheaper than NASA doing it itself.
There's something I read that it basically every person we put up into space was like $1 billion is what it cost, right? So everybody that went up on a space shuttle basically was $1 billion. So for us to pay $93 billion, I think is a fair, does that say by the end of 2025?
Yeah.
The Armature, which aims to establish a human presence on the moon, has faced. So the Armistice program itself is $93 billion by the end of this year. Not that what we spent. So NASA's already spent $93 billion. So
they're not supposed to go up till 2030. So another 5 years of throwing billions of dollars.
So they're estimating they're spending their money on the base. They're spending their money on rovers. They're spending their money on infrastructure and allowing Musk and Bezos to get them there.
It'd be interesting what they do take, whether they're just going to go land on it and walk around, or
I think the goal is H3, man. That's the only place that we know of to get helium-3, and I think we're going to be bringing back. I think
the government ain't going to be doing it. It's going to be private industry. Having a couple of government employees on that doesn't change that this is a private industry trip. Just because the government's helping fund it so that we can throw a couple of government employees on it.
I think the research that we're getting out of that's pretty valuable. I mean, there's a statistic that for every dollar NASA spent, public got back like $6 or $7. The whole QR codes and the scans that are on, that's all NASA. You know what I mean?
Tang. Can't forget Tang.
Yeah,
Where'd Tang go?
I think it's still around.
Went by the wayside?
No, I think it's around. I think that's what they give prisoners.
Is it?
Of war. Yeah. A little taste of America.
Right.
I'm excited for Blue Origin, man. I think Branson might have dropped out. He had the two planes kind of rocket in the middle launching.
I think he's still doing that. I don't think he's in the running for. I think him and Bezos
pull up Spaceport, Aubrey.
Are more of
which companies are going to be providing service for the Houston Spaceport. So I think Branson might be working more towards that, where they're not. They're going to be launching
tourism and
Well, there's a difference between going to space and what's the Houston spaceport down the street's going to do. From my understanding, the Houston spaceport down the street's going to be like you can get from here to Europe in like basically what the Concorde used to do, right? Like an hour or two.
And I just saw that they built another plane that kind of replaces the Concorde to where it doesn't have the sonic boom issue that the Concorde did, which is the whole reason we don't have the Concorde anymore. It's the sonic booms got outlawed over there.
Crashed.
Well,
After they crashed, they said we're done.
right, but there's a lot of other things, right? We can't break the sound barrier over the continental United States. It's been outlawed, so we can't get the supersonic planes launching from here.
They're launching, but where they hit supersonic is going to be possibly heading out over the Gulf. That's what
They'd have to.
Elon's doing. Do you remember? I remember when I was in school back in 1995. We had a plane come across with a sonic boom. It shook that school's windows and all that. We were all scared crapless. Anyway, it was, or at least we were told it was a sonic boom from a plane. So
Right.
that's the only time I've ever got
Did you have
experience.
to
with it.
hide under your desk because it could have been a nuclear bomb?
Nope.
Those
That was
indestructible
over.
desks
That was
were,
over.
those were, we need to bring those back.
I don't even remember drop, stop, and roll.
What?
I don't even remember doing that.
Dude, I fully believed that fires and quicksand were going to, and people give me free drugs, were going to be a lot more prevalent in my life.
People don't give you free drugs.
No free drugs. I haven't caught on fire yet, and I haven't found myself in quicksand. Like the amount of training that I did as a child for those three things.
It still could be useful.
You know, the people
You
with the
just
drugs,
never
they
know.
want money.
Yeah, they do want money.
Quicksand? I don't know if I've ever actually seen quicksand.
I want to say I have.
And then stop, drop, and roll. Did people spontaneously combust back in the day? I don't understand why so many people caught on fire that they had to teach you how to put yourself out when you're a kid.
Because that whole labeling wasn't there. It wasn't saying like, don't pour gasoline on yourself. Don't, let your hair get next to that candle. All these safety warnings we didn't have back there. And
Right.
people just
Coffee's hot,
walked
just-
around and just, boom, hey, why is George on fire? Well, he, hey, stop, drop, and roll. I mean? So I don't know. I don't know. That's a great question. But I don't actually, I remember talking about it, but I don't ever remember practicing it.
Really?
Yeah, I never do.
Man, it's like a basic training in elementary.
Not for
We had to do it. We had to, I think we even laid down and like spread out like we're in quicksand.
Really?
Yeah, it is a whole thing.
I always thought it was silly because you better be outside if you're going to stop, drop, and roll. I mean, it'd be pretty hard on a concrete floor. I mean, you might get some oxygen deprivation, but you're not going to get a whole lot.
Possibly. I don't know.
Roll around on the carpet at least, set it on fire.
I think it was another one of those climate change. This is what's going to happen in the future if we don't straighten up. Everyone's going to spontaneously combust.
So I always thought the ozone shit was a same thing, right? Kind of like, big hoax and all that. No, it was not. It was a true thing.
Yeah.
And that was the first and only time the world has come together to solve a global problem. And we were able to solve it together.
Less hairspray.
And basically, the UN got involved. I think it's the only time the UN has basically voted unanimously, across the boards. It was just this beautiful moment in time that, try to do that today.
Antarctica is the only thing that everyone in the world has agreed. No civilization in Antarctica. The world's military. They all have bases down there. They all get along. They can't militarize Antarctica, but they can have research facilities. But every country, no matter who it is, abides by it and agrees with it. Something's bigger in Antarctica.
Yeah, that's what they say. That's what they say.
It's where they keep the.
Lizard people.
I don't think lizards like the cold.
These are different types of lizards.
Lizards,
Yeah, these aren't your cold-blooded lizards.
right? Hey, I need some coffee.
I need some coffee too.
I think it's coffee break
yeah,
time.
cup back. We'll be right back.